I'm Molly Kimball. Welcome to Fueled, a wellness and nutrition podcast. I'm a registered dietitian and nutrition journalist with a passion to help people live their strongest, healthiest life possible. In my weekly TV segments and columns, there's a limited amount of time and space to cover everything, but there's so much more to share. This podcast is my opportunity to dive deeper into the topics you want to know about. Today, we're talking about something that I incorporate into my diet daily, and I have for probably the past 10 or 12 years. And it's something that I get questions about all the time when I buy it at the checkout line. The cashier is always asking about it. There's a lot of misconceptions about it, but there's also a lot of science that shows benefit that we're going to be diving into today. And that something is apple cider vinegar. So if you've tried it before, you know, it's not the tastiest thing, and I get it, and I'm sorry, but we'll talk about how to make it a little bit better, how to make it more palatable, and also why do I take this? So it's the first thing that I have every single morning, even before my coffee. I put 2 ounces of apple cider vinegar in a cup of hot water, and I like to add a tea, an herbal tea, usually a chili or a cinnamon type tea, and it's something that consistently I have it every single morning, first thing. And admittedly, it is not good. It doesn't taste good. You make that face. It's kind of like that Jägermeister face when that old commercial, the guy doing the shot of it and just, pruning up your face. For me, it's hard not to do that. I didn't realize that like a sound often comes out when I drink it until we were on vacation one year, and I was in the bathroom of the hotel and mixing up my apple cider vinegar, and apparently had just the noise that comes out with it because it's pretty intense. My husband is like, "What is wrong?" Well, it's my apple cider vinegar. So let's start there. That is not the tastiest thing, but as you'll hear, there's a lot of benefits. And for me, it's worth doing that first thing every morning. Side note, I also add ginger to mine. I take freshly juiced ginger. I freeze it into ice cubes, and I put 1 cube in with my apple cider vinegar every morning. And then the cayenne or chili type tea or cinnamon tea. If you don't have freshly pressed ginger, you can also make ginger tea with ginger root, boil it, and you can put in a saucepan about a 1/2 inch of the root for 6 or 8 ounces of water, and you can make a tea, and you could refrigerate that and add that with your apple cider vinegar. I like the ginger. It helps with digestion. It is a natural anti-inflammatory, and the same reasons I add the tea that has a cayenne or a chili in there is for the natural anti-inflammatory effects as well. So I just kind of throw everything into that apple cider vinegar in the morning. For me, it's not something that tastes fantastic. So let me just cram everything into this little glass of it and knock it back first thing and get it over with quickly. So with all of that said, and it doesn't taste good, why am I starting my day with this? I take it personally because of the alkalizing effect that apple cider vinegar can have. So basically what that means is it helps to buffer the acidity that naturally can build up from diet and exercise in our bodies. So when we eat protein-rich foods, for example, they are acid producing in our bodies. When we exercise, there are acids that are naturally produced in our bodies, and something like apple cider vinegar, as well as fruits and vegetables, have an alkalizing effect. And so they can help to neutralize that acidity that naturally builds up. So apple cider vinegar has been used therapeutically literally for thousands of years. And there's tons of different anecdotes about the health benefits of apple cider vinegar. Some are hilarious, some are ridiculous. Most of the claims are unproven because the reality is there's not a lot of research about using apple cider vinegar for medicinal or for healing benefits. But there is some science, and we'll dive into that. So here's the fact and fiction about apple cider vinegar, plus how we can incorporate it more into our diets. All right, so what is apple cider vinegar? Vinegar of any type, can be made from countless sources of fermentable carbohydrates. So that includes things like grapes, beets, apples. For apple cider vinegar, yeast is used to ferment the natural fruit sugars from those apples into alcohol. And then bacteria convert that into acetic acid. And that's what is basically apple cider vinegar. So this acetic bacteria forms a slimy film on top. I know it sounds completely disgusting, but it's not as gross as it sounds. But it forms this kind of slimy film that is referred to as the mother of vinegar. So when you're looking for apple cider vinegar, this mother in it, which is kind of this cloudy, slimy film, It is enzymes and good bacteria that give it that cloudy appearance. Some brands filter this out before they bottle the apple cider vinegar, so look for unfiltered apple cider vinegar to get the most health benefits. I know, I'm making it sound so appealing. It tastes horrible. You've got the slimy film on top, but it's really good for you, trust me. And it is. So here's the reasons why I have incorporated this daily for the past 10 plus years. So for starters, addressing the question that I get all the time, does it help you lose weight? Does it help you burn fat? It is a complete stretch to say that apple cider vinegar will help you burn body fat. It's certainly not melting fat or dissolving fat. You'll see actually some websites claim that. But what apple cider vinegar can do, and where there's science showing this, is that it can help to stabilize blood sugar levels. So what studies show us is that taking about 1 ounce of apple cider vinegar with meals can help to reduce glucose levels. It improves our insulin sensitivity, and it can significantly improve our hemoglobin A1C. And that is a marker for how well our blood sugar is controlled. And when we take apple cider vinegar at bedtime, it can help to reduce fasting blood sugar levels in the morning. So that means even if I have clients that have diabetes, type 1 or type 2 diabetes, apple cider vinegar is a supplement that I recommend across the board. Now, if you do have diabetes, and especially if you're taking medication for diabetes, and you add in apple cider vinegar, you can add it in before each of your main meals, before breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's okay. And it's recommended. I like it. But check your blood sugars throughout the day so you know, do you need to adjust medications? And always check with your healthcare provider, your certified diabetes educator, and let them know, what you're doing, and they can help you adjust your medications accordingly. Ideally, it's helping to improve insulin sensitivity. It's helping to improve glucose levels. And ideally, you don't need as much of the diabetes medications, but that's always something that you want to do in a very safe, controlled way. So even if we don't have diabetes, keeping our blood sugar levels stable, keeping our insulin levels stable, and avoiding these highs and lows, avoiding these roller coasters, that means less cravings. Basically, we're setting ourselves up for that stable, steady energy for the day, and not the roller coaster of cravings, not the roller coaster of blood sugar. So whether you have diabetes or not, I like starting our day with apple cider vinegar. We can be more aggressive by adding it a second and third time a day, but regardless, I like adding it first thing in the morning before we do anything else. So some of the other benefits that have some science behind it as far as apple cider vinegar is when it comes to heart health. So there are studies that show that apple cider vinegar might help to lower our blood pressure, and might also help to reduce our triglycerides, reduce our LDL cholesterol, and increase our good HDL cholesterol. All of this means improved heart health, reducing our risk of cardiovascular disease. So this is one where more research is needed, but at least it's promising so far. There's a few other benefits of apple cider vinegar. That has a natural antibacterial effect. So it can be used topically for disinfecting. It can be, some people actually use it on their skin, of course, diluting it to exfoliate and soften skin, and the antibacterial effects of it might be used to help fight acne. So there are some dermatologists that recommend using it topically. Just, of course, make sure you dilute it, massage it into your skin, and then rinse it really well. So some of the other things that apple cider vinegar might be helpful for, and people use it for, it just doesn't have a lot of science to back it up yet, is upset stomach. So 1 to 2 tablespoons stirred into a cup of warm water, soothing a sore throat, or helping with bad breath. So gargling, half and half mix of water and vinegar can help with each of these. And again, some people find it's beneficial, others find no benefit at all, but at least in these cases, it's not harmful, and it can fall into that category of every little bit helps. So science is still lacking on this, but if you're looking for something for that upset stomach, sore throat, or even bad breath, it's not going to hurt you to use apple cider vinegar and see if it helps. So if any of these sound like benefits that you're looking for, and you're looking at, okay, well, how to incorporate this daily? There's a bunch of different ways. I like to have it first thing in the morning, that 1 to 2 ounces, and I usually do about 2 ounces, diluted in about anywhere from 8 to 10 ounces of water. And as I mentioned, I make mine into a tea, like a hot tea. I do have people who tell me they like it in a sparkling water, like a sparkling flavored water could also work. And it doesn't have to be hot. You could also do it in a cold liquid if you liked. And some people find that a little bit more palatable than even warm. But regardless of how you decide to drink it, it's key that you don't drink it undiluted. So apple cider vinegar is so acidic that drinking it undiluted, it can damage our tooth enamel. It can damage the lining of our esophagus. So don't drink it straight. We always want to dilute it. I would say at least in a 1-to-1 ratio, if not more, water to apple cider vinegar. So always dilute it. You could add honey. Some people will add stevia or a plant-based sweetener like a swerve to it, and that can kind of also make it a little bit more palatable. There's also a brand called Squeeze Dried, and this is apple cider vinegar that's the equivalent of 1 ounce of apple cider vinegar dried in little packets, and they put a little bit of stevia to sweeten it, and they also have some cinnamon in there, and you put it in water. It's like a little stick pack that you would put in water. I bring that with me when I'm traveling, especially if it's a place where I don't think I'll be able to buy apple cider vinegar. Because if I'm traveling and I'm going to be somewhere for a while, I get myself to the grocery store and I'll even buy the apple cider vinegar so that I can be as consistent with it as possible. But if I'm going somewhere for just a couple of days, or I'm not sure if I'll be able to stop at a place that has it, then I'll bring the squeeze dried apple cider vinegar stick packs, and you can just add those to water just like you would any other kind of stick pack that you would use to flavor water. So those are different things that we can add to be consistent with it. You can also use apple cider vinegar in place of other types of vinegar when you're making things like salad dressings or marinades. You can add it to your favorite smoothies. I also like adding it to juice blends. So each day I do a juice blend from a local place here that is all types of greens. It also has a beet in it. It's turmeric, ginger, and all that. And I will, especially if I feel like very acidic, if I'm very sore from a workout or kind of achy, I'll add the apple cider vinegar to that if I have that in the afternoon. If I'm traveling and I'll do a bottled green juice like a Daily Greens, I'll put it in there. So you can put apple cider vinegar into your green juices, or you can kind of make your own concoction separately. So there's lots of ways to incorporate it. The key, as with anything, is to be consistent. So unless you do it for an extended period of time, at least, I would say at least 3 weeks, if not longer, and consistently every day, you're not going to know if it's really helping or not. So when we try and we add different things into our diet, if we're kind of haphazard, we're do it a few days, then not, and we're kind of stopping and starting, and we're piling a bunch of things in at once, we don't really know what's helping. So the key I would say here is be consistent and follow through and make sure that what is going to work best if you're doing it first thing in the morning, if you're bringing the stick packs with you and doing it at work, if you're putting it in a green juice in the afternoon, however you choose to have it, be consistent and let us know what you think and how you feel and if you're seeing some benefits from this. So I hope that helps to give you some clarification about apple cider vinegar, its benefits, its uses, and of course, fact versus fiction. And thank you for listening to this week's podcast. I'm Molly Kimball, and you've been listening to Fueled Wellness and Nutrition, the podcast. And if you'd like more Fueled Wellness and Nutrition, head over to my website, www.mollykimball.com, and you can follow me, Molly Kimball RD, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you haven't yet, please go to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. And join us next week for another dose of Fueled Wellness and Nutrition. Thanks for listening, and stay focused on living your strongest, healthiest life possible.